Contact at point 003.
Welcome to Live Action Star Wars. My name's James.
I'm Ralph.
And I've forgotten how to do anything. We are covering the Empire Strikes Back deleted scenes today. This is the first time that I've sat in this chair at this desk since the last time, which was over a week ago. And I sound like this. This is the best I've sounded for a while. Because I was at a festival all week last week, and I'm very tired. How you doing, Ralph?
I'm exhausted because I was up last night dealing with, I believe, the last of my kidney stones. So
let's hope.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit tuckered out, but but what was nice is you thought about this ahead of time. Well, not the stone, but real easy homework to watch. Watched it this morning, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think I have much to say because it's mostly extended scenes.
I did that. I did the same thing. I watched. There was a few of them. I was quite pleasantly surprised at how many were listed on there. But I watched the first two, and I was like, I'm gonna just like write one line of notes just so that I remember what scenes are what, because
good.
It's super easy. But yeah, I've just got like a line or a thought, one brief thought for each of them, but not too much. It should be nice and easy. Yeah, we'll see how we're doing. It may end up being a short one. He says.
I'm just going to say this now. My pick for 2 weeks from now.
Ooh,
because I watched these deleted scenes on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
and when I opened up Disney Plus this morning, I found out there's new Star Wars.
Yeah, I did exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so in 2 weeks we'll be covering Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian season 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of those things that they may have advertised that this was coming, but we completely missed it.
I feel like I don't really. It's like I know when Ahsoka comes out, like there's so much Star Wars.
Yeah.
That I don't keep track of everything.
I don't, and I've been so preoccupied with everything else, and between studying and festivals and things like that, I've not been paying attention. I probably saw the news at some point and went, "Cool, that's great. I'm sure we'll cover it," and then it just was gone. It was like completely out of my mind. It's one of those things that if we'd known about it, we could have done it today, but also that would have been pressure and watching things early and all of that. And it's like, I don't think either of us really wanted that right now. So
keep an eye on. I'll keep an eye on. You know what I can do is I can go on the list on our website, and if there's something new coming out, like Ahsoka, I'll put the date in there.
Yeah,
so we can always know. Maybe I don't know if you'd be up for this. I don't know how this messes with our calendar, but instead of a data link, we could do a regular episode next week.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah. I mean,
we'll do that.
A week is plenty of time to watch this. It gives everyone a chance to watch it so that they know what we're talking about as well. 2 weeks maybe it would be a little bit redundant at that point, but let's do it. Let's just do one next week.
Okay,
cool. And then there'll be a data link probably the week after that.
Yeah.
We're playing fast and loose with the format, people. We are in the off season.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing is I was like, man, it's really weird being back in the off season and thinking of stuff, because I had something in mind for our next regular episode.
Oh, that's handy.
Something that I haven't seen. I don't know if you've seen, but it's the previous Disney Gallery, which was the Obi-Wan documentary. There's like it's not called Disney Gallery. It's just called like, I want to say Return of the Jedi or the Jedi Returns.
Something like that. Yeah.
I think
I did watch it. But yeah, we didn't cover it. Those Disney galleries, I think because we'd sort of played catch up with them, I think, for the Mandalorian ones. And we'd covered them, and they're all fairly similar to each other usually.
Right.
So it was like, it didn't feel like an urgent thing that we needed to cover immediately when the Obi-Wan one came out.
Yeah.
It might have come out alongside something else as well. They might have done it as a drop with other things that we were more eager to cover.
Biomes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, where is Biomes 2? It's been weeks, people.
We've been watching Rebels.
We just finished season 1 this afternoon. So for as hoarse as I sound and as exhausted as I am infinitely better than Liz is feeling at the moment. We pushed through. A brief little thing about our week is we walked about 90 miles. We were up until anywhere between 5 and 6:30 a.m. partying every night. We hit it hard, and we were fine all festival long. It got really hot today. We were drinking loads of water. We were trying to find as much shade. And on the last day, on Monday, when we were packing up and leaving, we did all of our stuff, carrying loads of crap, getting back to the car, and then we had to do 2 more trips to get Liz's mum and all of Liz's mum's stuff back to the car because there was loads of issues, and then drive home. So on the drive home, Liz has been suffering from really bad heat exhaustion and has just been laid up since. So she's been struggling, and so it has been a case of let's just lay on the sofa and watch some cartoons. So yeah, this afternoon we just finished season 1 and started season 2 of Rebels.
It's crazy. I've been following Star Wars Minutes weekend reviews of Rebels, and listening to Pete, who's like kind of like, whatever to the cartoons. And I know that Rebels, I always thought of Rebels as kind of a little tough to get through the first season or so, but like he's enjoying it, and it's great hearing him enjoy it. And the thing is, like, I remember Rebels being so amazing.
Yeah.
And right now I think we're in is there season 4?
There's 4 seasons total, yeah.
I think we're in season 4 because we're just about to get to Maul and Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Holy crap! Like the show just it rarely dips.
Yeah,
the Saw Gerrera episodes split into 2. I don't know why it's split into 2, but it's fine. But
probably because they could get Forrest Whitaker for a 2-episode deal, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, the first one feels like such a stretch of we're going into these tunnels in Geonosis and we're still going. It's just like, okay, but it's kind of like amazing how like at some point you just start falling in love with every character. Right now, it's finally getting into the stuff where we get deeper into Sabine and her past, and the Darksaber. And when seeing the Darksaber in Mandalorian, I'm like, oh, here's Clone Wars shit. But it's like the handling of the Darksaber with like Kanan, and Sabine,
and him sort of trying to train Sabine and everything. It's incredible.
It made me like Mandalorian season 3 even more. Like I'm like, oh, this is the kind of stuff like I like. Less explanation, but if you're doing a series, you have time to let this stuff breathe. And so like this is like enhancing Mandalorian season 3.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because it does a good job of it enhances Mando season 3 because it's like, oh yeah, there is all of this weight, but then it also sort of sours it a little bit because it's like, oh, but then you just do that to it, and it's like, I don't know, it's a weird split. I can see why the handling of the Darksaber was really, some people found it like genuinely offensive. But I'm just like, I don't know, I quite like the subversion of it at times. I'm just like, no, it's done.
Lightsabers could be reforged. It's not
exactly. It's it's not.
It's not.
I'm
going
sure
away,
that we'll
guys.
see a new version of it at some point. Yeah.
But it's such a good show, and I know we don't talk about that kind of stuff on here.
No.
Mostly because I didn't want to rewatch it all. But here I am rewatching Rebels in anticipation for Ahsoka, and I'm just like, man, this is so good.
But I think because we've got Ahsoka coming, which really feels like it's season 5 of Rebels, it's a continuation of that story at least.
Right.
It sort of, we'll be able to get our fill of it. We'll be able to talk about Rebels, and I'm sure that as we're watching Ahsoka, my hope is at least that we'll be able to go, and this is sort of in reference to that, and so that's our way
Yeah.
of talking about those amazing bits of Rebels.
I keep thinking Pete, of course, doesn't like fantasy elements, which like when he gets to Bendu, I'm sure it's going to be a real issue.
Yeah.
But he also doesn't like Chopper. He finds Chopper annoying.
I did when my first watch through of season 1. I did too.
Yeah. But he's going to find out that Chopper was essentially a rescue, and he was found in a Y-wing. Like when Pete gets to that point, he's going to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I forgot that, and I'm like, I love Y-wings. But anyway, it's a really, really good show. And if you haven't seen Rebels, check it out before Ahsoka. I think it really will help with Ahsoka. Maybe watch some key episodes of Clone Wars with Ahsoka in it. Like the one where she leaves the Jedi Order, the one where and maybe the season 7 stuff with her is really good.
I think that arc in season 5 at the end, like the Wrong Jedi arc, essentially, is that, and then the season 7, the season 7 arc, and obviously the Siege of Mandalore stuff there. But I think mostly it'll be the Rebels side of it that is important. Yeah. And there are many, many lists. If you have watched Rebels and you just want a refresher, there are many lists out there of like key episodes to watch in anticipation for Ahsoka, like the ones that are specifically her centric, or have a lot to do with her and maybe some members of the Ghost team that are definitely in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
It is. They're all so good. It's such a good show.
Yeah. None of those guys are in Empire Strikes Back, though. Unfortunately.
None of them.
Not
Not
even.
Well, I mean, Lando shows up in Rebels.
Lando's in there. Yeah.
And
R2
Leia.
and 3PO and Leia.
Yeah. But I mean, they're not. Yeah, they're not going to be in Ahsoka.
Nah.
Right.
Do you think Hondo will be?
Maybe Luke. Finally get a live action. I feel like here's the thing.
I'm shocked that we haven't had a live action Hondo yet.
There's something about like all the Dave Filoni stuff, like in Bad Batch, where it's like, oh, you got to bring back Hondo, you got to bring back so like, and so like when they brought back Ahsoka in Mando, I was like, oh boy, okay. Here we go. We're going to get all these guys back because that's how it is. Like you get all the Clone Wars people and then they show up in Rebels and they show up in Bad Batch. And it's like, okay, I guess they're going to show up and they're Galaxy's Edge. You have Hondo. And then you're like, oh boy, we're going to get the Ahsoka show. And I'm just like, can he keep from having Hondo?
I want it if it fits the story, if there's a place for it. I don't want it shoehorned. I would just want it if there's an actual genuine thing, genuine reason.
Yeah.
And I've been reading Heir to the Empire, and I was saying for a while that I think that Boba Fett is the equivalent of Talon Card in those books, like the Pirate King, essentially, in the wake of Jabba the Hutt being gone. And I still think that they could go that way. But another option, or at least maybe someone who's working for Boba Fett's organization, we know that they had a connection. What if he's got like an old timer Hondo? Because we know that Hondo's around by the time of the sequel trilogy because of Galaxy's Edge. He's still there. He's still pirating and stuff. So he's going to be younger than he is there. But like a Hondo in that era working for Boba Fett in his criminal organization, I think that'd be kind of fun. But that doesn't need to necessarily be in this. That could just show up in the Heir to the Empire movie.
Yeah. I could see them. They're still searching for Ezra.
They need a broker of information.
If they're looking everywhere. A transmission would be fine. I don't think we need a whole, I don't know.
Yeah.
We've seen him in live action, but I don't know. It's like, come on with him. He's everywhere.
He is everywhere. He's good fun.
He's like, where's Bosk?
Yeah, he's got a big connection to Boba Fett too.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, why so many, like, so much screen time for the Filoni creations, as opposed to these, like, we don't have enough Bosk stories.
There's
Just
some good
don't.
ones in the from a certain point of view books. I think the Empire Strikes Back one of those had a really good story with him and his sister, and yeah,
Yeah.
Lady Bosk.
Yeah.
Bosk is in Empire Strikes Back, but he's not in
He
any of these
is.
deleted scenes. It was a real shame.
Right.
You got to think.
Yeah.
like,
Most of the expanded scenes.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot gets changed by the inclusion of any of these expanded scenes, except for possibly one.
There's
I mean, the Wampa stuff,
Wampa stuff. Yeah, we've that's the one that I always remember as being the big deleted stuff.
and the closest thing to make it into the C-3PO ripping off of the sticker.
Yeah.
Made it into the trailer for
That-
Empire Strikes Back.
So we were watching these, and Liz, she was like, "Why are some of them in black and white and some of them not?" And I was sort of saying, I was like, I assume it's because when they do an assembly cut, they're putting everything together just in black and white because it would be cheaper to like sort at the film that way. And then the ones that are in color are probably ones that were in a cut of the movie for a lot longer. Like they were processed fully in color, and then they were removed later in the process, probably quite close to the end. We know that the Wampa stuff was all quite close. George, like I feel like with the amount of it that is there, and I mean some of it is still in the movie, there when Han goes to pick up a tauntaun, they are examining some bodies in that cave.
Yeah.
And they're all looking down and stuff. Like there's remnants of the Wampa stuff in there. It made it into Shadows of the Empire video game in '96. So like it really feels like this is stuff that George wanted in the film. He was trying to make it work.
They didn't look good.
It didn't look good, and I think that's
good.
that's the only reason that stuff is not in the film, is because,
and it's probably
suit
why
looks
it's
bad.
in special edition.
Yeah,
It's
it
because
almost
he
shows
made-
restraint for them to not put it all in and to do the new Wampa in the special edition. Just the stuff in the cave.
Yeah.
Which I quite like. I quite like that special edition change for the cave. I think it works.
It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good.
That's the biggest one. Changing stuff though. The only one that I noticed is when they're on the Falcon and Leia is tending to Luke, when they're trying to escape. They're talking. They've clearly mentioned like what's happened to Han and being sort of frozen in carbonite, taken by Boba Fett. And Luke's like, Boba Fett, who's that? And I was like, ooh, that changes this the holiday special. Because in the holiday special, Luke and Boba Fett meet. They're like Boba Fett foes, like fakes being a friend. So yeah, it's that changes that. It sort of decanonizes the holiday special.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Later the same year, because they shot this stuff in '79. So later, like what, a year later, and George is already like, nope, bin it, don't want it.
Yeah. They get pretty close in that scene.
Yeah, they get pretty close
Luke
in
and
a
Leia?
few of these scenes.
Right. And I'm wondering if they left the extended cut of Luke post back to tank. If they leave the extended version in there, are they brother and sisters in Jedi?
Exactly.
And I don't think they are.
I don't think they are. I think we get what was her name? The original plan for the other sister, like the actual sister, in one of the versions of the script.
I didn't know there was. Well, I knew that there was twins like the whole time. Like that was in like the Journal of the Wills version were twins.
I'm sure I've heard Pete and Alex mention a name. My brain is mush at the moment, but I'm sure that there was a name that was in a version of the Return of the Jedi script that was
So if we get this extended cut where Luke and Leia are really getting into it, do we get a sequel to Return of the Jedi with this other twin? Was that the setup?
The lead off from that, maybe.
Like Star Wars 7.
Episode 7 is more about the other, the sister sort of thing. Yeah, could be.
Oh, that would have been great.
It definitely
it's more
leans.
Star
It
Wars.
definitely leans more love triangle with like Leia getting very close to Han and very close to Luke, and then them both pulling away and just be like, "I'm out. See you later. I've got to go do this." And she's
Right.
just frustrated because she's like, "God damn it! I can't get any from anywhere. Like, what's going on here?" I think the extended argument in the hallway in the South Passage, I think the way that is extended, where Han walks away, but then he comes back, and then it's
Mhm.
Leia who has the final word and walks away. That
Yeah.
gives her a bit more control and agency in that argument, I think,
Yeah.
which is interesting. And then obviously after that, we get her being pissed off and walking away from Luke because he's just said he has to go as well. It makes the dynamic between all of them really interesting because the way that it was obviously filmed is they're both really interested in Leia. They both want Leia, but they're also both pretty selfish and need to do their own thing. And
Mhm.
but they're totally cool with each other. Luke and Han are best mates, but Leia's also there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in retrospect they made the right choice because I think we'd be looking back on a lot of those interactions going, oh God, men are the worst. Whereas
Yeah.
now it's just like, oh, Han is such a dick, but he's a lovable dick.
Yeah.
And Luke is sort of, he's still very much just is puppy love with Luke.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he's sort of on his Jedi path, he's not interested at all.
Right. And you get the name drop of Jabba. Do we get a Jabba name drop in the final cut?
Yeah, when he's talking to Riken, if I don't pay back Jabba the Hutt, I'm a dead man.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. Jabba's mentioned in all three. He's mentioned or seen in all three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on the cut, you get to see him twice. It's kind of amazing. Like there's got to be more. I'm sure there's more cut stuff out there, but it just kind of shows you like how tight this one was.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really just trimmed fat.
Yeah. The other thing of note I thought was funny with Luke and Leia getting close and then him pulling away, is that it's when 3PO walks in as well. 3PO walks in on them nearly making out, and he obviously interrupts the make out. It's like
a running gag.
He's the ultimate cooler, and yeah, it makes it like the second time when it's Han and Leia, it makes it a callback to an earlier like interruption as opposed to just 3PO not having any tact. But yeah, he's the ultimate cool down guy. It's quite funny. There was a couple of scenes that didn't really do much of anything. I thought the General Veers, the fate of General Veers was a bit of a nothing burger because we just sort of see a snowspeeder crash into him and like he goes down in that version.
The thing that doesn't make sense is some AT-AT needs to get through to make the troops enter the base.
The deployment.
So if like destroying that one, then who's entering the base?
I just assume. I mean, there was a few of them. We see two go down in the final cut, 2 or 3. There's at least 5 or 6 out there. So yeah. That one I thought was a bit nothing. It makes me laugh because the Veers Watch Twitter account is always really funny. And it's just hit the running counter of days since we've had a mention of General Veers. Or just recently when the official Star Wars account put up the milk carton image of Buri Yaga, the Wookiee Jedi from the High Republic. And the Veers Watch account was just like, well, I've got a new template that I can use for the rest of time. It was fun.
I'm assuming they're going to post today about Veers not showing up in Disney Gallery Mandalorian.
I would assume 3. So. Yeah, I would assume so. I like Veers. Veers is a good character.
Dude, that dude was in
Game of Thrones, Indiana Jones,
For Your Eyes Only.
For Your Eyes Only. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think. Like I think he was on it. He was a bad guy in Doctor Who.
Of course, yeah.
And it's like, what else is there?
Yeah, I mean, of like the big genre stuff, like Star Trek. Was
Star
he
Trek,
ever in,
maybe?
yeah. Was he ever in a Star Trek? But I mean, he's hit the Lucasfilm ones. He's got Star Wars and he's got Indy. But like, and in Indy, a major character. Yeah, as Dylan Kirkland here. Yeah, Donovan, Walter Donovan. And yeah, brilliant character. He's really good in Game of Thrones as the Maester, the old timey Maester. Barely recognizable because he's old and he's got the beard and he's a pervert. Yeah, it's really fun. I like seeing him pop up and stuff. Yeah, Jeremy Kelly, was he in Superman? So I suppose that would be the other one. That's the other obvious one.
Right. I mean, it can be. They're making a new one.
Yeah.
We have a new Superman and Lois. I'm kind of excited. Listen.
Lucha Johnny, that's your weekly Trek mention there for you.
He's over on his channel, Geek the F Out. They're covering original Trek. Him and Kayla.
Yeah.
But
oh wow, Tristan.
Yeah,
Tristan. He's got a Harry Potter. Like, come on, he's everywhere. Yeah. Unsung. I feel like people that know that he's out there, and they go, "Oh, it's this guy and this guy and this guy." But to general audience, he just sort of swings by as this character actor who just sort of floats under the radar. It's good.
Yeah.
There was the Luke extended recovery in the Back to Tank. That was again a bit of a nothing burger extension.
It's one of those things where you're just like excited to see more Empire Strikes Back, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's
like, ooh,
it's
new
nice
shots.
To see.
Yeah.
A few new shots.
Yeah.
There's 3PO making a bit of a classless joke about him maybe like short circuiting and things like that. It's like, oh, does Luke have brain damage from his encounter out there? It's like, yeah. It's
I mean, he got hit over the head with a giant claw.
Absolutely, he's almost certainly concussed. But I guess
I'm sure he could talk the 2-1B through like Wi-Fi instead of saying it out loud.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, like it seems very insensitive to bring that up out loud.
Yeah.
Hey, you think it's brain damage? It's like,
dude, come on, dude. Into the He's right there. Like, yeah, give it some time. It's like when someone goes into surgery and they're like, yeah, no, that doesn't look good. Let's just put him down.
Yeah.
C-3PO's bedside manner, not the greatest. He's about as good as Jack on Lost. Yeah.
Julian Glover was in the Willow TV series.
Wow.
I don't remember. He must have been a voice. He must have been a voice of something.
He was in the Avengers, the Bowler Hat Avengers. Yeah.
It's
great.
An appeal.
Yeah. The Lobot capture.
Again, it's just fun seeing more Lobot.
Yeah, I couldn't really place where that was because, like, at first I thought that this is before he then would escape and help the crew, but then we see Lando run by, and it's clearly when the Lando, Leia, Chewie are running around trying to escape. So I assume that this is after he's freed them, and then he's sort of trying to be subtle and undercover. I like that we see him hide, and then gets captured. And my whole note for that was, oh, poor Lobot. But that came up in some of the Marvel comics recently. At the beginning of this latest run, they go back to Bespin. Lando and Luke go back to Bespin. Luke wants to find his lightsaber, doesn't. And
is this post episode 6? Is this like the Ochi stuff?
No. This is it's around the same time that Ochi's hanging around with Vader. It's post Empire. It's sort of like that time frame. But it's a time frame when actually like Leia really doesn't trust Lando still, and Lando's trying to sort of prove himself. He's like, no, I'm here now. I want to do good, but his first priority also is to rescue Lobot. And then Lobot really helps the rebellion all come back together because they all scatter. The fleet scatters, but they all lose contact with each other, and they use his stuff to get back in contact with everyone. It's pretty fun stuff.
The OG stuff, is that in comics or is that a novel?
It's comics. I mean, there's the novel. Novel is
that's the stuff I'm interested in. I'm really interested in that Luke and Lando pre-episode 9.
That book's got a lot of Ochi in it. That's really good. That's Shadow of the Sith. That's excellent. There's a lot of Ochi in there, but there is also Ochi in the Darth Vader comic, which is in the middle of the trilogy. That's where we see him first go to Exegol. So there's a lot of Ochi out there. Like Ochi's like it's Ochi season.
Again, where's Bosk?
Yeah. He's in some of the comics. There's a bounty hunter book that is a comic it's got quite a bit of Bosk. He loses an arm at one point and it regrows because Trandoshans can grow back limbs.
Great.
That was kind of fun. Yeah, I think Boba Fett like blows it off because they're all fighting over Han and Carbonite. What else have we got?
I'm gonna have to look up that stuff.
Yeah.
That might be all of them. Oh, there's a Luke Skywalker one. Oh,
there's a couple of others. There's the alternate version of the kiss, which just adds like 2 extra lines. It's like Leia saying that she's worried about getting her hands dirty, and then leans back in and they have a second smooch, and then get interrupted. That matches the radio drama. When we did the radio drama for Empire Strikes Back, that's how that plays out in that.
The extra dialogue.
Yeah, extra dialogue. And the fact that she's way more into it and like is like, yeah, basically come here, scoundrel.
It's funny in the radio drama they don't add the extended Luke and Leia in the medical bay more
because of when it came out.
Because when it came out, it was already decided that they were the twins. I mean,
as I was saying about the Wampa stuff, it that really felt like it's stuff that George really wanted in there. Whereas all the extra stuff with Leia and Luke, you get the impression that George was breathing a big old sigh of relief when they had cut that, because he's like, oh, good. Like, okay, they've kissed and there's been a couple of little pecks on the cheeks here and there and things like that. But like, it's for the most part, they've been able to avoid it.
It also could have been like maybe
there's only one
Lucas just didn't want to do more Star Wars after Jedi.
Yeah,
because it definitely felt final. And like if you watch any sort of like publicity material, interviews with cast and stuff, there's like you can tell he was done.
He's done. And he's got the ideas, and Mark Hamill's clearly very hopeful that they'll come back in 10 years or so and do the next ones. Yeah. But so he was George needs a break. George is tired.
So he was probably like, I'll just make them brother and sister, and then
it also it cleans up any it settles it for fans who would be leaning one way or the other, Luke or Han. It's like if you make them brother and sister, then everyone's happy, I guess,
except the weirdos.
Yeah, they didn't have the internet back then though, so they weren't as vocal.
Yeah, but they were hoping for that.
Yeah.
It's
hiding in the asteroid.
They get to see new parts of the Falcon.
New behind some panels. Because Han's on some pipes. But that scene, because you get the 2 different coverages. You get the Han coverage and then you get the Leia coverage. Yeah. And it confirmed your theory when we did the Falcon fly through, or the tour with Donald Glover. Yeah. When you thought that door was where the kiss was, that door in the sort of the main room. Because we see it, like we see that's where Leia is. So I was like, oh, sweet, that is confirmation that is what is back there.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. I like seeing the Falcon more. It's the thing that brought me the most joy watching all of these, and especially in this one, is hearing Irvin Kershner's direction.
Yeah.
And just him saying explosion and then big explosion,
and then
bam. And then it was like all of that stuff, like hearing that voice, it just made me laugh.
I feel like at this point we've heard it parodied so much
yeah,
that it just sort of goes, yeah, everyone has a good Irvin Kershner impression because it's such a unique, fun voice.
Yeah, it's singularly him. So that was my favorite thing watching, was anyone where he was giving a lot of direction. Especially the Luke and Leia scene, after Luke gets his hand cut off and they're talking about Lando and Han and stuff.
The only other one that we've not mentioned is the Yoda's test, which is dialogueless. There's no audio to it. It's just some other shots of training. It's just a training montage essentially. He's got that weird metal bar that he's making Luke levitate, which was weird.
Maybe it's like a training. Like it's like a probably it's like a tuning fork, maybe.
Oh, could be, yeah.
It could be a thing where it's like, okay, listen, feeling force and moving objects with your mind is going to be tough. You have to be at one with nature. So let me introduce this thing that kind of stands out from the, like, here's this whole, you're in this whole natural setting, and here's this artificial metal bar I'm going to stick in here so that you can focus on this thing. It'll be easier to focus on this. And once you focus on that, you'll start to be able to move and start
natural
focusing
stuff
on actual other things. So it's like almost like a tuning fork.
I like that a lot. I think that's really good. It's different from floating rocks. It's like, this is what a rock will feel like when you're floating it. This is what something artificial feels like. I like that a lot. I think that's really good. When we see Luke swinging his lightsaber around, though, he did look like Star Wars Kid. Because there's nothing for him to interact with in the shot. He's just swinging wildly with Yoda on his back, and it's like, you look like either Star Wars Kid or Michael Cera with a broom in the garage. I didn't dislike it, but it was one of those ones that I was like, oh, I wish that there was some dialogue in there so that we had some context for what that bar was, what they were, what the training was actually all about in that particular moment.
Because it's so like man-made.
Yeah,
like it's
definitely.
Like it's something you wouldn't find on Dagobah, and it would have been cool if, I mean, I don't think Lucas would remember this stuff, but if we did see something similar in the prequels where Yoda was teaching with it. Yeah.
Even if it was just sort of something that like levitated up and like the training remote, like would like project things out, or like it was I don't even know if Yoda would want them to be shooting lasers. It would be something else other than deflecting blaster bolts.
It feels like something that Filoni would put in a show to show training, because he knows in Star Wars inside and out. And it would be like, hey, let's make this thing, let's put this back into canon and also give it an explanation. Like, I feel like that's something that Luke should have had while training Grogu, or maybe still will. Who knows?
Maybe. Maybe we get it in the New Jedi Order. Rey goes on a pilgrimage to Dagobah and finds it in the hut, like the completely crusted over hut on Dagobah. Like she finds some of Yoda's old artifacts, something like that. And that could be.
And then we'll do the Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
Yeah.
That thing.
That'd be great. That'd be good fun. Yeah, that's that. We don't have anything else of these to talk about, I don't think.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn off my Wi-Fi, which should, because it looks like my connection's getting kind of crummy. I'm going to go to Ethernet, and hopefully I'm still here.
Okay. So far you are not, but let's see if he kicks back in. Your audio has been fine. Like the video, your video jumped a little bit. You're back now.
Okay. Yeah, it just says there's a little thing that popped up that says my internet is low.
Bars.
So I might look like garbage to you guys, but what are you gonna do?
It's a little bit more blocky, but it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay.
He's back. Tristan is here. Yeah. We didn't say hello to anyone today. It was
We
very
didn't
rude
say
of us.
hello to anyone. Yeah.
StreamYard
You wanna go through it?
here. Yeah, why not?
They showed
StreamYard
up
was
last
here.
week. They're the only ones that showed up last week. Which, by the
Yeah.
way, I don't know if you went back and watched that. I thought that was really fun, and I think we should
haven't-
do more.
I haven't yet. I was going back through just to see if anyone had left any comments or anything. And I saw the beginning, and I saw that you put in
so much.
some applause. So I might go back and watch it because I want to see what you did with the edit on that one. It was super fun to do. I hope that people that watched it enjoyed it. If you did, let us know. I wasn't online really checking things last week.
Not really to spoil anything, but there's a point where Patrick did a big old long yawn. And it just kind of fit perfectly with a TIE fighter roar, and so I just put a nice little TIE fighter roar in there. It was one of those things where I just was like, it's been so long since we've done a pre-record that I was like, okay. And I uploaded it. I put the beginning, I put the ending, and I would started watching. I was like, I'm dropping some music, and then I was just like, I was enjoying watching it, and so it was just like anything popped up, I was like, my brain was like, oh, put this in, drop this in. So it was a lot of fun.
Great, that's good. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing how it turned out. I'd like to do more in the future when it's appropriate, when we've got the right people. I know that a couple of our guests that we've had on a few times are interested and want to play along, so it'll be fun. And then maybe I'll write up some new questions. But if you've got anything good that you want us to ask them, or you think will be a good trivia question, send it to me personally, and I'll put it into a doc. I'll start putting together some fun trivia questions for people. Sarah was here, had to go to work, but maybe we'll watch this back. Tristan's been here the whole time, but yeah, it was there. It was talking about the scripts. Dylan, we said hello to earlier on. Dylan was here. Joe Kelly was here watching live because it's the summer. You love to see it. Luch Johnny, we've mentioned already, but yep, we talking Trek. We were. That looks like that was everyone who's talking about. Luch Johnny was here for the trivia game. He watched along. Thank you for joining us, Dylan, live. It's good. We try and do this as much as we can. We're normally a bit more with it, but yeah, it's a weird week.
I'm looking at our schedule.
Okay.
So I think it might be best if we just do Mandalorian season 3 in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
The Disney Gallery, because on Wednesday the 19th, that would be a Data Link episode. I am gonna be heading down to San Diego Comic-Con.
That's that one. Okay, cool. Yeah.
I think. I mean, you know what? That's the Wednesday, so I don't have to leave. Here's the thing: San Diego Comic-Con's coming. I'm moderating the Lost panel as I do every year, except this time around, me and Taylor are going to be down there shooting for the Lost documentary.
Oh, great!
And we're going to be getting some interviews. But let's keep our schedule going normal. We'll do Data Link next week. And then we'll keep it normal. So that'll be a Data Link week. We may be there, we may not be there, we may do a pre-record. So that's the 19th.
That's the 19th.
So, yeah.
Cool. Yep. I'm currently completely free on the 19th, so we can do it. If we do it live, we'll do it at potentially a different time. Whatever's relevant, whatever works.
Right.
Right. We'll figure it out. It'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm just looking. Where are we?
Yeah, anyone's in San Diego, come join us, because we will probably have a waiver for you to sign, because you'll be in the movie.
There you go.
Yeah. I need to announce that to people. And it's happening at the library. It's not actually happening in the convention center. So if you don't have a badge, if you're in the San Diego area, if you want to hang out and go see the Lost panel, we're going to be shooting it man, it hasn't been a good turnout the last few years. So I should probably really get people going so it doesn't look really light
Yeah.
when we shoot there. But you're not going to need a badge. I'm going to make sure anybody that gets there, badge or not, if you're in the San Diego area on the 20th.
It's a
you'll
weird
get-
one. This is a weird one for Lost this year, I feel, because of all the stuff that's happened. You might get people that just want to talk about it.
Right. Also,
or
it's
you're going to
weird
get people that
because-
really don't want to talk about it.
It's also weird because with the writer's strike and the pending actor strike, nobody's going to Comic-Con from like
Cast
any
and
of the
crew.
networks or the streamers or
Wow.
movies. So you're not getting, I think Netflix is out, Marvel's out, and like everybody's out. So
It's
it's,
going to be like
I don't,
Comic-Con in 99 again, and it's going to be like
Yeah.
like an actual Comic-Con.
yeah, which is fine with
It's
me.
cool. Yeah, it's great. It's amazing
But
that they've...
but as far as shooting, when you
I'm
know,
surprised
when
they've
don't
not
have
put you guys in
anybody
Hall
there,
H. Like,
yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like, oh,
Yeah,
shit,
there must be
Hall
some
H
stuff.
the
Yeah.
we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're in San Diego at all at that time, go to the library and I'll let you in personally
There you
without a
go.
badge.
There you go. You can't ask for more
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I don't have anything else to promote at the moment. I don't
I don't have anything else. We're gonna keep our regular schedule. 2 weeks we'll do the Disney Gallery. Yeah, it might be a little bit late to the game, but whatever. You
whatever.
know.
Yeah.
We're late to the game on everything. I mean, we did Empire Strikes Back episode, probably a year ago.
It's a
but
new
that
movie.
came
It's
out like
just-
40 years later.
I mean, when
Yeah.
when there's a new show, we're pretty on it. We're one of
We're
the,
we're
I think
like there.
we're one of the first. I think we get there pretty early.
I think Alex and Molly get there first.
Yeah,
I feel like they get screeners.
I mean, there are not always, but at least first halves of seasons, there are often screeners for shows. Some shows not. Some shows there isn't.
Yeah.
I know that the Ringiverse people, they did get screeners for Mando and just decided not to watch their screeners. Because they wanted that experience and they watched live and stuff like that. But yeah, it's everyone's prerogative. If they've got the option to do it, then great, do it. It makes things a lot
Right.
easier.
For me, I
Um,
just want to watch it the night before. Like
Yeah.
I want to watch it. Like I wish they would release it midnight Eastern time instead of Pacific time.
Yeah.
Midnight Eastern time, I can. It's 9 o'clock
Watch it
here.
and then go to bed. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah,
I
Justin
mean,
says roll on August. I couldn't agree more. I'm super excited for Ahsoka. This should be good stuff.
yeah, and with each episode of Rebels I watch, the more excited I get about that series. And I've kind of said it before, and I feel like any sort of the issues I have with Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and stuff, I usually chalk that up and blame it on Favreau.
I think there's been a lot of people sort of coming to the realization that it might be that way round the dynamic.
Yeah.
And because Favreau was not really on Mando season 3 much, because he was working on Ahsoka, like it's hopefully all the stuff that people really liked in the first couple of seasons of that, we get it all in Ahsoka.
Yeah, and I feel like Ahsoka's Dave Filoni's thing.
Oh,
And
100%.
I think it'll be more focused.
You're going to still
I
have
don't know.
Favreau gets an exec producer credit, but that's
Yeah,
just
'cause
because he's got the sort of the Hollywood advice more than anything, like the filmmaking side of it.
There's a show called Sweet Tooth on
Great show.
Netflix. Really good show. Really focused storytelling. Also has 8-episode seasons, just like Mandalorian.
Mm.
But like all the character development, all the storylines, how they interconnect and stuff. Like it's all so focused. It's so laser focused. And I know that season 1 and 2 of Mandalorian were essentially procedurals. but season 3 of Mandalorian was definitely less procedural, more serialized.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm like, how could you not focus this story as well as Sweet Tooth?
Mm.
Like, it's a DC comic that like some people know, barely anybody knows about, and the show, although
Tristan
pretty
certainly
big
knows about it. I
rollout.
remember selling him the issues for the entire run.
Yeah, it was the time when I was working at the
Yeah,
comic
yeah,
store
yeah.
when
We were
Sweet Tooth
both
started.
selling
And it-
comics at the time.
And it's one of those things where like the first season they kind of had a big push for Netflix. Second season it just kind of dropped,
Yeah.
sort of suddenly. But it's
the
like
Netflix
it's like,
way. They just
oh.
sort of feel like, oh yeah, here you go.
But it's like I'm like, if they can do this with 16 episodes, this much story, this much character development in such a short time, without any sort of previous IP to like help you along, I'm just like, I want Mandalorian. I want the Sweet Tooth team to do a Disney Plus series for Star Wars, because it's
That'd be
so
cool.
like, it's so focused, it's
That'd
so
be cool.
good. And I know that the
It's-
show deviates from the comic a lot. And
Yeah,
so it's not like they had the
I didn't
comic
finish the comic,
put
but
out
I
this arc.
know enough that it definitely isn't following it one for one.
And it's pretty much like a new, like they've created this story
Yeah.
in, you know, what'll be 24 episodes.
Yeah.
They're
doing one more season, aren't they? Yeah.
And it's just like, it's
Perfect.
so, it's just, it's laser focused, concise. And I'm hoping that's what Ahsoka is. I don't want filler. I hate the word filler, but it's, you know, whatever. I'm fine with procedurals, but this needs to be like Rebels level, like
Tighten
season 3, 4
Yeah.
Rebels, like focus on
Yeah.
story. I don't need side quests. I don't need anything. I really am hoping for something,
Mhm.
something focused
Yeah.
from Ahsoka. So I trust Filoni in this, because it is his. I mean, that's where he started, was Clone Wars.
That it was in terms of directing. Yeah, he directed some Avatar. He's done some other cartoons before that, but like,
Yeah.
I think
As far as Star Wars goes,
yeah, as far as Star Wars goes, it was Clone Wars movie that was his first baby.
And the Ahsoka episodes of Mandalorian have been some of the better ones, and he's directed those.
100%.
So I kind of have high hopes. I really have high hopes. That I didn't have high hopes for any of the other series. Pleasantly surprised with Andor.
I did for Andor, but it was in a similar vein. It was pure hope. It was I don't have anything to go on. I mean, Tony Gilroy. But other than that, it was just I really want this to be good. I was sort of willing it to be good. And was so happy with that it was. But Ahsoka, I'm just like, I really want it to be, and I really think it can be something pretty special. So like, fingers crossed. Like, I don't know. I feel like whenever we talk about this sort of stuff, I'm just like, oh God, are we setting ourselves up for disappointment here? But I really hope not.
They're setting us up.
They
set us up. He's the one that set us up for this. So he's got.
And I think it's getting that push. It's getting that. Yeah.
And the fact that he's working on this movie,
yeah,
that brings all this stuff together, leads me to believe that they have an end goal, a point that they're trying to get to, and so
they know that this is going to be successful. Yeah. And Rosario Dawson wants to do more, so she wants to come back. She wants the second season. So you never know. We might get a second season of Ahsoka before we even get that Heir to the Empire movie, but we'll see. We will see. Yeah. And roll on August, because I'm ready for it.
Me too. I'm ready.
I'm excited for when it comes out as well, because it's after I've got a load of busy stuff to do beforehand. I know you've got a lot of busy stuff to do over the summer as well. So I'm excited that a lot of that, not all of it, but a lot of that will be done and out of the way by the time we get to it. So we like focus on Ahsoka.
Right.
I think that's going to do it. I think
so too.
I think we've got through it. A nice sort of tighter episode with this week. It's good. My throat is
a little bit
certainly going. I'm glad that I don't talk much.
Go get some rest.
I've got to work.
I'm take a big.
I've got tonight and tomorrow, and then I'm off for 3 more. So yeah. Tristan really wants to talk about Shatterpoint Miniatures game. I am resisting it because I know that that'd be a massive money pit for me. But it does look beautiful, and I can't wait. Tristan, I need you to send me some pictures of stuff that you're painting up, because I'm sure it'll look great. Yeah. So until next week when we'll have a data link. Don't know what we're talking about yet, but it's a data link. It'll be fun. Yeah, and then in 2 weeks' time, we're talking about the Disney Gallery. I've got it.
Yeah.
I've got it downloaded, ready to watch. Yeah, don't give in to hate.
Celebrate the love.
Punch it.